All right, with the start of the recording, I will call the meeting to order. And we will start with roll call. Clay Burkett. Claudia Camargo, present. George Ruiz. Chris Sutton. Hope Wilson. Luann Holman.
Here.
Allison.
Here.
And we also have our attorney, Kim.
Here.
We have quorum, so we have confirmation. We have more, we have the 4 members needed. Our fourth item in the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Allison provided those via email to give us time to review them. I know Luann and George were not present at the last meeting. I need a motion to move with the minutes if hope if you got a chance to read them.
I did read them, but I probably can't because I.
Yes,
read
you
them
weren't
today.
present. Absolutely.
Sure, I'll move we accept the minutes.
That is making the motion to move in with acceptance of the meetings. We have old businesses and new businesses, and just to be kind of understanding of people's time. If the committee has no issues, I would like to move the COA report up in the agenda since we have the representatives here. Let that be closed, and that way they're open to either leaving or staying for the rest of the meeting. So we will move forward with the 35 South Public Square COA staff report. Allison also provided that report via email. I hope the committee members took time to read through it, look at the guidelines. That way we can move forward with making the motion or making comments based on our guideline references. Are we ready to make a motion, or are we ready to discuss, or?
Questions?
Yeah, if you have guideline references and so on, yep, move forward with that.
According to the guidelines and Allison notes, first of all, it's not a rear or alley location, so it does require COA. I'm not sure why that was put in there. But it says on primary facades beyond repair. And we look at replacement. And that is defined as over 50% material needing replacement. So now it's a question of, does the door really need replacing or not? I've been walking by there several times. That's a picture of the old dedication. You can't see your doors, but you can see the bank, and that was the panel door. Courthouse also has a multi-panel door. You have quite a lovely doorknob on that. And I know your windows are broken, but that's easily fixed above. The door, to me, looks like repair.
Are you ready for me to? Okay. So Brantmore, and I sent other pictures. I don't know if you got those.
This one?
And maybe more
These are just
difficult.
recent, and we'll pass them
Yeah.
around. Sorry about that.
So, and I can show some on my phone too. Yes, all of the windows are pretty much broken, cracked. They're only single pane glass. On the push bars on the inside are in disrepair, and I can let Glenn speak to that in a minute. When we've had them inspected with the state, he can speak to that I don't know that they're going to pass another time.
What's a
with
push
that.
bar, Brent?
To get out.
To get out.
Because it
I
is a
see.
second egress out of.
Oh, I gotcha. But those are replaceable, right?
Not on this wooden door, the way they are. This at the bottom on the inside, yeah, I mean, there's big gaps in it. And what is also on the front there is the old mail slot, which is a piece of tin that is just over there. And so it doesn't stop any kind of airflow or anything like that in there either. So the lock on it also is very difficult to get open and to get latched in there. So
Question, when were the front doors replaced?
we just did that
22.
2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Okay, so the front doors were replaced in 22, 20.
With what's there now.
With what's currently there, correct?
And then they
these
were probably again replaced back in the 60s, 70s. probably.
But this was approved by a previous HPC, correct?
Yes.
But they were replacing an already replacement.
Yeah,
They weren't replacing the original.
correct.
And just as a reminder, we're sticking to this application
Right.
for now.
But yeah, I understand.
But the materials will be similar to what's on the
They'll
front.
be exactly the same. And we will at the top with the arch. We're going to keep the arch. We're going to keep the buttons that are going down. So all of that, I mean, it's all custom when you have to do
The
that.
building doesn't change.
No, not at all. Not at all. So the metal will follow the arch. The metal will have the buttons in there that you see on the drawing there. But the amount of air and stuff that's coming through that door is just, we can't keep that there. It's not only is it just costing us a lot in air, it is wreaking havoc with the plaster on the inside, in the stairways, in the other part of the building, because we can't regulate the heat and the cool because of the way the door is.
And you had already tried weather stripping.
Oh, yeah.
Already done all.
Yeah, but
that.
as you can see on the bottom, it's all cracked and coming apart and in there. I mean, our next step would be, putting plywood over them to try and stop some of it, but that would be worse.
Yeah, no, and then you run into other issues, not historical
Yeah.
related, run into safety issues. But so going back to the diaphragm that was provided, my only concern as a representative of the committee is the structure of the building. That's what we're here to preserve. Obviously, doors sometimes have hinges that go into the mortar of the building. Will that be the situation for this door?
No, it'll be just like the ones in the front.
So I guess the what retains the door in place attached to the building, will that remain untouched?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they won't touch the stone or anything.
okay. Because that's where it gets tricky with doors and windows for us.
Sure.
Once you remove the hardware that's attached to the building, then that's where we're like,
Yeah.
can we do something else?
Yeah, that's all on the inside.
Okay.
It isn't with the stone.
And any more questions?
Well, I applaud you keeping the building up. It's a beautiful building. Did you think about getting a double pane door like the ones on the city building right here downstairs?
No.
You want to match the front and
Yeah.
I'd like to make a little comment if you don't mind. For the last 5 or 6 years, I have met the state inspector. when he
What
comes
is,
up.
what was your,
Oh,
what's
I'm
your name,
sorry, I'm
please?
Glenn Rogers.
Thank you.
I'm the current master of Angola Lodge 236. I was secretary for 15 years. So I always met with the state inspector when he came up and did the health inspection and such as that. And when we inspected those doors the first time, he went down there, because that is the only egress other than the front door for the Masonic Lodge. The door on the right-hand side, we couldn't even open. He and I finally worked with it. I had to find the bar because the bar was gone on the handles. So I found a bar to fit in there. And it's just loose in there, but at least in an emergency, it could be open, but he recommended 5 years ago that we replace all those doors because they are not safe. So, and that's from the state Homeland Security. And that I could speak on that because I I walked with him on all the investigations. So you know, he said that those doors were not, they were a safety hazard because it is the only exit other than the front doors. You know, those were blocked by fire or anything else. You wouldn't be able to get out of the building. Period. So that's, you know, and I think we're trying to do this, maintaining the shape, maintaining the building as the building is, but the doors and the archway will stay intact so that it matches the same decor as is there, but it will be the trim that is on the front of the building, so it will all match.
And are you doing both doors? I don't mean those doors, I mean the other little door next
No.
door, which is
No.
aluminum.
No, that door goes to the bottom floor for Fifth and Life.
I thought you owned the building though?
We do.
We own
We
the
do.
whole building, yes.
But I mean,
That door,
the 17, almost $18,000 this custom door costs, we couldn't afford to do that one with it right now.
No, and thanks anyways. It was noted that it was for this, and that's probably beyond our need of information, right? We appreciate that you're updating the building. As I mentioned, we're here to make sure that the structure is saved and you confirm that. And that's what we're forward, right? We wish more people were able to afford, you know, updating their buildings. Unfortunately, it costs.
so that's
High cost.
the problem with this
Yeah.
is it is costly
Yeah.
to maintain an old building. I mean, and we are trying to maintain the integrity of the building.
We appreciate that
We
too.
put a new roof on, we've redone the front. We've done a lot of work to that building. I don't know, Brant could tell you how much we spent in the last 10 years, but it's a lot of money.
It is, and we really appreciate that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful downtown.
And so, you know, we're asking for help with this because really it's just out of our budget right at the time.
Yep.
We can do part of it, but we can't do the 100%.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
there's
you.
no doubt in my mind that it will look better than it looks now with what you proposed. My only concern is I wish it still looked historically like it looked before, you know, with the double pane look. But I understand there are costs.
And, you know, we looked at replacing it with wood doors, similar to what's in there. And you can't get the same thing today.
No, I understand that. Yeah.
So we're kind of stuck there too. But we are not going to change any of the structure of the building. It's just the doors.
Mhm.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more comments from the committee, or are we good to make a motion or the purpose? Are we good? With comments or any other amendments we need to address? Not, then if we can make a motion.
We approve the project.
Does anybody second it, or?
I will,
Okay,
Claudia.
thank you, Luann. All those in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
All those that are not in favor, please speak up. No abstain, so that means that the president committee has approved this motion. Thank you for presenting it and bringing your discussions, and thanks for improving our look in the town. Thank you, appreciate it.
thank you.
And you're welcome to remain. We're just gonna touch base on old business.
Or remove, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you,
Okay,
and best of luck with the repairs.
thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah. All right, moving down to the agenda, we have old businesses. We have the Klein Museum. Thanks for bringing up the notes from landmarks from Deb. It's pretty similar from reading it. It's pretty similar to the discussion we had last week that Hope brought up a couple of those points up. Yeah, so it's pretty nice that that was confirmed. I know you mentioned that, or you noted that you're working on a few documents
Yes,
to
so
present.
she sent me some sample documents that other cities are using for single site designation. So I will use those as a reference when creating one for Angola. So
Okay.
that'll be our next step. I'd also reached out to the historic division of the DNR just to confirm some of that information with them as well. So
Okay.
next step is to draft what that form possibly could look like and then getting approval for that.
Okay, awesome.
And I have already given Allison our registration, our application for the National
Okay,
Registry,
awesome.
which would have even more information than you would want. I think it's very long. And it was done by Arch out of Fort Wayne.
Okay,
So
awesome.
So since this is my first time back, so is this, this is what you proposed?
so the board
I mean,
last
fill
year,
me in real fast.
a year ago, the board at the museum
Oh,
applied to this site. That we would want to apply, but we don't have an application form in Angola. So we're just waiting.
okay.
It would be a single site.
Yeah, so that's good news.
Yeah.
And thanks for pushing it through and for working through with that, Allison, as well. Just when we have the documents, we'll review them and just kind of see where that leads. And then any other comments on that item?
No, but it will lead to an ordinance because that's,
Yeah, yep. And even Deb confirmed that, so it's good. Next item is the photo contest in May.
Yes, I just wanted to touch base with you on some dates for that. So that is for Historic Preservation Month. I did give you the flyers, I believe, last meeting, and I can send you one for that as well.
great.
So just some dates to kind of be aware of that we will vote on that on our meeting on May 21st.
Allison,
Yes.
is this, since I don't know, is this local, our local town
Yes.
preservation? That's
Yes.
where the photos come from and our local photographers?
Yes, and I was gonna pass this around just so you guys
Oh,
can kind of
okay, so you
become
have
a
that.
little bit aware of what we're gonna be voting on. So subject matter of the photos needs to be located within Steuben County, does not have to be just city, but does need to be in Steuben County. Resource of at least 50 years old or over. And then photographs exclusively of natural elements will not be accepted. So like a tree that's maybe 100 years old, we're looking more for sites and buildings and things like that. So if anyone would like to pass this around, we do have the 3 categories. That was black and white photos, color photos, and then we're doing 18 and under. I have had a lot of feedback on that. I'm getting a lot of emails requesting information for that. So that's kind of the nice thing for it being our first year.
So how are we advertising this then? Is it?
Sure. So this is on our
On the-
social media site, is mainly how we're advertising for that. I also have put it in our coffee news, if anyone's familiar with coffee
Oh,
news.
yeah, it's in the coffee news.
Yep, that just came
Has
out.
it been in the paper? The Herald?
I don't believe it's been in the Herald Republican yet. And then where else did we have? It just came out in coffee news. I just picked one up today. So,
Did you see? Yeah, I have it. I don't have a color copy. We have a meeting at the Klein tomorrow. So it would be
Yes, we do.
fun to- If we had a
Yeah,
poster
we can
and
print, can we print color
do a flyer and take.
from your, we can print.
yeah, before you go
There'll be a lot
today,
of
I can
people
give you some.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just wanted to show you what it
And
looked
the
like.
photo club, like John Mowry and all of those, I mean, I know a lot of people who are in all that, but I don't know if they have seen this, and I know people would love to do that.
Okay.
but-
Yeah. I would say primarily we've shared on social media, other
It had-
organizations have
Yeah,
shared.
10
and
or
then-
so different shares from the
Yeah,
Facebook
and I'll
page,
make
but
sure I
we'll
share
get it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, did I see a flyer at the public library?
I think,
Is it
yeah, I
available?
had sent them a flyer too, so. But yes, I can print out some color copies if any board members would like to pass those out for me, or you're going to a place that you think that would apply to, absolutely. And I'll send you all a digital copy as well.
Are we voting? Are we the voter?
You are the voters, yeah, you're the voters.
All right, okay.
Yes, it was also mentioned that some of those pictures and or photos in the future, we can use them for our tours.
That'd be
You
great.
know, just to kind of bring out the buildings and give like shout outs to everybody who participated if possible.
And the winners get,
Main Street is doing prize packages for the winners, so we did a trophy, and then they're gonna get like a prize, yes, yeah, there were trophies.
We probably can't be in it, can we?
now that I just joined.
No more months and I could.
Sorry.
But if you would like to pass this around, that just kind of shows the
Yeah.
entry form.
I love this.
And that was all I had for the
Does it have
photos.
to be matted or what format
No.
does it come?
Just the dimensions there are what people can turn
Just
in if
a
they're.
small one, 4x6.
And then
Okay.
they are giving us approval, like Claudia said, to use their photos and other advertising and things that we're doing.
Next in the agenda is the election. Okay.
I have a comment that maybe if you guys wanted to get more engagement, you could possibly do like a People's Choice Award and have, post them on social media and then have people vote that way. That would get a lot of engagement, I think, from the public.
Yes, a suggestion.
Yeah.
Good idea. People love to do that.
Mhm.
Because it's like a survey, isn't it? Or like a.
Yeah, you can just tell them to like the picture and that counts as like their vote.
Okay, awesome.
We have a lot of windows on this building. You could.
So we gotta put them all out there then, all the photos we get.
Yeah.
Do you have any yet? Any photos?
I have started receiving some submissions.
Oh, great.
Now going down to the agenda, the elections, we have somebody new and it's been approved and we're glad to have you back, Luann. Thank
you.
Yeah.
Here,
You made it to your first
I
meeting.
made it back. I made it back.
I think it was you, you said you read the minutes, but it was brought up that, you have a lot of experience with the history and knowledge, background of the building. So that's helpful and, we look forward to your expertise when it comes to some of these buildings and
Thank you, Claudia. Thank
questions
you.
and stuff like that. So it's nice to have you back. See, I didn't welcome you because I don't know, I wasn't here, I think the.
Actually, this is my first.
Oh, well,
I've
welcome, George. Welcome, George.
Yes.
Was your first meeting?
Yeah, my first meeting back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and,
High five, George. High five.
and we'll touch base, but if you, I think, did anybody find the PDF file of the guidelines? In case
Oh,
George
I
needs
have
them? You have them? Okay, awesome. So we're glad to have you both. Shout out to both.
The guidelines are supposed to be online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
But I know that there was a time when we had them when Deb was here, they were printed out when we were
Yeah.
doing a lot of the edits.
And we
stuff.
can print those if anybody knows, yeah.
So I don't know, some people are good with digital and some people are good with paper.
But the hard copy we had was pre-approval.
Yep.
I'm not sure if everything was the same.
Training available.
I just wanted to touch base with that. That had been recommended at our last meeting about getting some historic preservation trainings that might be available out to the public for them to be aware that we do have some local places that offer some different seminars. I did talk with Kyler, who's the mayor's administrative assistant, and she said she would be willing to put that in a monthly newsletter. I'll kind of keep track of some of those trainings that are going on with Indiana Landmarks, with ARC, any that I kind of see that are available. I'm happy to share them with this group as well. But you mainly wanted to focus on kind of getting that out to the public, it sounded like. I also would recommend that we would update the historic district flyer. It doesn't have the correct facade information on it. But there is a learning opportunities tab But my recommendation for the group is that we would maybe make this sort of a generalized flyer where we're not maybe having to print this every single year. So just links for Indiana landmarks or links for ARC instead of specifically saying, this is their conference on this date. Also not putting the dollar amount for the facade grant, but a link to get to that information. So when we print them out, we're not having to throw them away. We can kind of use them from year to year. But this is what ours looked like before. I would keep the same look, updated information. If everybody's okay with that, I'll kind of make some changes to that, showing
Yeah.
some of the training opportunities and grant information that's out there.
Yeah, and just for Georgia and Luann, part of the request for this is we have a lot of applications that come to our attention, and it's about repair or upgrading or updating. And there's some trainings that go on that provide that kind of information. So we thought it would be beneficial for the owners. I mean, it's so easy to just say, I want to repair my building and not even know what they're doing. So as a committee, I think it'd be important to kind of send those out instead of just hoping that everybody that comes in here knows all the background and guidelines and all the requirements.
And that's part of what we're supposed to do too, that
Exactly.
outreach and training. I mean, that's
Education.
part of your, that we need to do, that education and, I mean, that's an important part of this.
Right, and we talked about, Allison and I talked about getting those to our downtown businesses because some of them are new and they don't even know that they're in the historic district. I mean, we've had that a couple different times where they put up signs, they didn't know they were supposed to get sign permits, didn't know they were supposed to get, just whatever, because they just don't know. So this updating this flyer and kind of adding that, hey, you're in the historic district. And
The visual
here's some
pass
info.
out.
Yeah, would just be good information for people so they can understand that it not only do they have some extra requirements, but it gives them that ability to apply for facade grant and what needs to happen in the historic district. So it is part of your guys' education and what you've done in the past, but this just kind of updates it and keeps it going. So as part of like tours and things like that you're going to do again, and that we haven't done for a while, really.
Yeah,
used
no,
to do them
we need to-
regularly.
We need to plan it now that you're back on board.
I've been doing them, but you don't have to do that. People call me all the
Yeah.
time, but.
No, yeah, that's great. And I mean, I think it's important that, it was mentioned last month that we shouldn't expect only Allison to kind of, send those out if she gets them. But if any of us gets any information, like send them her way and say, hey, there's a workshop going on. Maybe we can spread the word or something.
I did attend the Carpentry 101 in South Bend. Of Indiana. It's a very cold day.
Any good insight from the repairs and recommendations?
I don't have siding on my house. I mean, it was actually about, what information I got was just about the types of wood for exterior work that you would want to use. But he was mostly reciting something with wood, which I have a brick house.
Okay.
But he was very informative, and he himself has been doing restorations, the young man who ran the workshop. And it was about 20 people. Very cool
Nice.
garage. And then I went to the Oliver Mansion across the street, which was really nice, and Studebaker Museum, which is wonderful. But we really should think about offering a masonry workshop, because if you walk around Angola, like I can tell you 3 places where people have used the wrong type of mortar on historic brick, and now the brick is scooping out from the water because water can't go through the mortar because it's too hard, and they've used the wrong mortar. And I mean, it's a real mess on the side of the Klein Photography Building there by the post office boxes. But the Humphreys Building, which you don't know what that is, but it's across the street from the Methodist Church, that men's transitional thing.
Oh.
I'm seeing the side of their building. Now, my house is 1870, and it's kind of a soft brick, but I don't have brick deteriorating from water because they always use the right kind of mortar.
And I think they had that workshop. Maybe we can reach out to Landmarks and see if they're willing to redo that.
Well, they haven't had that one yet. It's in May.
In May, okay.
I was going to go to that one, but I think your business owners should know that, because we don't have very many people who do that work anymore. And so I think the temptation is to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then if you don't understand that modern mortar does not work with historic bricks, it's too hard. You know, you would just condemn your own building to a slow wash away.
When is that meeting? Do you know the date?
Do you remember?
Yeah, we provided it, I think it was in the minutes, wasn't it? Or no? Did we not provide the dates?
It's a Wednesday.
I sent Allison the email. I'll send it to
Can
you.
you send it to me?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to go to that.
Yeah, so it might be good to probably link it somehow into this, into the
If
website.
if the city could even post like about the class, like from a historic preservation standpoint, I'm sure Main Street would be willing to share it also with the community and the business owners. I feel that we can utilize that reach that Main Street has to help push out some historic classes and stuff like that.
And see, I don't know what they'll talk about. Like, the one on carpentry was not what I expected.
Right.
I don't know, I was thinking of window repair outside and that kind of stuff where he really focused on how you would start reshingling a building and different kinds of shingles and all that. So it wasn't my focus. But so it'd be probably good ahead of time to kind of figure out what they're going to talk
Yeah,
about.
if we could do that, that would be.
I'd have to double check about that on the city's social media, because I know there's some guidelines with us being a government entity that
Does the historic preserve, do we have?
we do not have our own Facebook. But I could always create something and maybe Main Street could share it too. About
And it was, I think if you remember.
For
when
a
the
class that
landmarks, it
costs
was
money, I don't know if we
$20.
can put that
Yeah.
in there.
There's a cost.
No, but we have talked about, as we update our website, the Historic Preservation Commission will have a new page and have some new things on that. We've talked about like an HPC Facebook page or something as things get going, but
Well,
we don't, if it's something that is, yeah, we don't,
if you could create something, we could share it through Main Street.
yes, that's what I was just saying, that we,
I'm thinking, as on the board of Main Street, I'm saying we could do that because that's part of our
right.
mission anyway.
And we can do free community events on our city's Facebook page, but not events that are for profit or that cost money. So we,
Yeah,
Main
so-
Street could help with that.
It's a way to get things out to the community.
No, and that's what we were kind of focusing as part of our educational outreach as a committee. So yeah, we can work something out if you need any help,
I'll
let
make
us know.
something up and share it with Main Street.
Okay, awesome. Voices and votes.
Yes, so I did receive notice from Indiana Humanities. I had applied for a grant through Indiana Humanities called Voices and Votes, and it was a history of voting in the United States.
Oh, my.
And then they would like to have us do our own exhibit with the history and voting in our area.
Should we have a speaker?
We could, yeah, I think we should.
There's a hand. You seen the hand? I told you.
I did a lot of talks on, women suffragette and voting for.
I saw your
women.
photo somewhere.
Yeah,
That way
yeah, my
you-
photos somewhere around
Here
too,
he is.
stuff like that, yeah. I think that's really, people like that stuff, it's fun.
Yeah.
They get together.
We do have some local people that are willing to let us use some of their memorabilia and different things that they have that we're gonna utilize
Really
some of
fun
that.
to do, really fun.
Indiana Humanities has said they have lost some federal funding.
Yeah.
And they have guaranteed that we would still receive this because those funds were already allocated for Voices and Votes. I don't know what that will mean going forward for some of the grants that I'm looking at. We have kind of talked about doing the QR codes in the future for some of the buildings, around town, and partnering with Main Street and kind of working on that project, I think is something you've talked about in the past. That grant should still be available. They have a private funder that is interested in still continuing that. So my goal is that I will still apply for that in September. But those are the only two that I kind of know that they're following through with for this year, so.
And I will put a plug in for Allison. The Voices and Votes grant was the first one that she applied for. She had only been here maybe a week.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't even know. And she saw that grant week. And so she applied for it. But not only did we get the grant, but we were hoping to get it. I mean, it's going to be some work. So we're going to team up with Main Street where you guys are going to have to work. We have to set up the display and we have to do our own display, which is Jean Bird and some other people have offered to donate some things that we can use for memorabilia. But part of that as well is that we had tried to get it at a time that we could do some field trips with the schools and get in, and she got the dates that she requested as well. So
So that'll be,
good job, Allison. Woo!
that'll be April and May of 2026.
Oh, and where will you put all the posters at the library?
Yes.
Yeah, that's library, and they're ready for that.
Yeah, so I have training next week on the program, and then once I go through the training, we'll start doing some public awareness on it, but we have to go through the training first, which will be next week, so we'll start kind of releasing some of that information shortly.
You know, when
Yeah,
we did the
technically
water
announce
thing a
it.
couple of years ago, it was
And
the water.
you kind of already have.
It was
I know.
wonderful.
Like, you kind of already have.
Technically, but
We just don't have all the information at this time
So you
until I
have
go to the
all
training.
of April and all of May.
No.
It was like a 6-week period or something.
Kind of mid-May, and I can share that with you when we get a little closer.
And 26.
2026, yes.
So
It
what I'm
takes that
looking at
long.
is, so from the Indiana Historical Society, they have the traveling exhibits. We had the auto one in the city building during the cruise last year, and then it was over at the library too. Those are usually 2 3x7 panels that can go into different configurations, but those are Indiana only. So they have about 3 exhibits that actually would pocket with you would follow along with this. The one that I like it's called Who is a Hoosier? And it talks about ethnic communities in Indiana, which isn't really so much Angola, but Indiana, and you know, how they make their voices heard. And then another one is just women suffragettes, which I don't know if that's overused now, if we want to go back to that or what, or if we just want to do a talk on that. And it's going to change.
Did you see these at the state? Where did you see these at the state?
Oh, they're available to historical societies
Through the
free,
historical
from the
society.
Indiana
Yeah.
Historical Society. So I can get it for free, and we can put it up in the museum or anywhere else we want. We don't care where we put it, but it would.
I can get you the exact dates. I believe it's mid-April through May.
That'd
But
be
yes,
great though to have different places, you know,
That you could go.
museum and the library and
Yeah,
that's
I
how,
think we could
that's how it
collaborate
works.
with each other and
That's
kind of
how it
advertise
works.
for each other too, so absolutely.
All right, well, we got ahead of the agenda with the COA. Thanks for everyone making that possible. We're going down to reports. Members, officers, anything going around the table? I'll take that silence after 2 seconds as we move on.
You know, I always that's usually how I do the meeting, but anyway, so sorry.
We don't care what we talk about. I always add stuff when we do
Yep.
that. So, because tomorrow night we're doing an evening with Shakespeare at the beautiful Klein Museum. It's open to the public at 7:00. An evening with Shakespeare. And I wrote a play. It's really fun, of all the women of Shakespeare giving Juliet advice in her garden on should she fall in love or should she not fall in love with Romeo. So, and there's sonnets and songs and brush up your Shakespeare. It's gonna be fun. And secondly, and I don't think this has been advertised, but this is pretty cool. Sarah Adams, you know Sarah Adams, she's working on the 250th anniversary stuff, and I'm on her committee. It's Friday night at 5:00. We actually have permission to go. I don't know where we're going. I don't know if we're going to the top. She said put the lights on in the courthouse, except it's not dark.
I think we're just.
And we're going to celebrate the 250th anniversary ride of Paul Revere at 5:00 at the courthouse.
PM?
I do not think it's been advertised. Probably just
No, I
me and
haven't
Sarah
seen
will
it.
go.
I've seen
9
it.
PM?
5:00.
4:45.
5:00
She said she'd be there at 4:45.
Yeah,
And outside the courthouse.
yeah. And I'm going to read Paul Revere's Ride and talk about William Dawes. If you don't know William Dawes, you got to come and find out. Do you know of William Dawes? Anybody?
I feel like I've read about him, but no.
We'll find out.
If you don't come, you're not going to know. You're not going to know. Anyway, that's
This
kind
Friday.
of cool.
Yeah.
Because it's at the
It's Friday at
courthouse.
5 PM.
The 250th anniversary ride of Paul Revere is Friday night. So you were in Boston. It's a big deal this weekend.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Yes. Did you hear that? You know how our courthouse is modeled after Fontenelle?
Yes, I know.
And now they've taken their name away.
who took their name away?
It was too diverse or something. I don't know. It was not politically correct. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read that. Don't quote me, but I'll find it. Yeah. I just
We're
saw
not
a
gonna
little
get into
clip.
politics, are we?
Pretty sure.
What's wrong with the
Like
name?
the old courthouse or something. I forget. I will try to find it.
I'd like to see that.
Oh, no, it's a-
Is that all for your comments, Luann, or?
Yes, that's all I have.
I'm just saying, because I'm hearing shuffling of paper, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But I would have anything?
Throw stuff out there.
George?
George is packing up.
Good. We'll go down.
I got another
Do you have
meeting, so
anything?
no worries.
Okay. Allison, any more comments? Public, any additional comments?
No, thank you.
All right. So I mean, I really appreciate it. I mean, I've told Allison, and I've told Rita and other people, when we get the minutes, it's my only comment that I'll do as a closing comment. When we get the minutes and we get the data via email, I know it's a voluntary base, but let's just take the opportunity to read big information, and that way, when applicants come in here, it's not a fear of, am I in front of a trial, right? It's more of a, hey, here's the guidelines, here's the advice that the guidelines say. And then obviously if we wanna, if they wanna share more details about it, good. But I really appreciate the fact that I don't want you to feel that I'm pushing it, but it's like, let's focus on that, and maybe hopefully that opens more interest in applying and making it more of a stream process that they won't think, well, I mean, words get out, right? So I don't want them to say, well, get ready because you're going to be in there for an hour and you're going to be questioned 100 questions at a time. So I really appreciate the approach, and hopefully we take this approach moving forward and make it simple for everybody.
Could I ask one question? Because I printed everything and, went through it, of course, but it said staff approval. Are you the staff approval? Or when it says, are you the?
Yes, Allison is the staff for
Okay,
this.
so it's not like Deb Parcell or, you're the
I'm
staff.
preparing the report.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I
Yes.
wondered, because it never used your name. It just said staff approval.
Yes.
So is that who we're talking about? Is
That's
you-
me.
you're- That's my question. Okay.
And I think in the past it was addressed that way, and I'm not sure if everybody was aware that I think that's, Deb would communicate, but I
Yeah.
think the staff overall would do the recommendations, right?
Yes, and we'll
After
work
Deb's.
a little bit on how the flow of the meeting will go a little bit. And Allison is still very new, so she's just been doing amazing. She did this all by herself, and so she's doing a great job, and we'll kind of work on the flow and what that looks like as we go. But yeah, I think that you guys will be more active, lots of things going on. Partnering with Main Street will be an awesome asset as well. And so I think that be ready. There's a lot happening.
Well, the only thing I want to stress is that when people come to you with this, you have to remember that it's great for people to want to modernize, but that is not the goal of a preservation commission. And preservation, preserve, restore, replace is way down the list if possible. And that's why, to me, I wish they would have, shown that they'd examine more opportunities to restore. Because I really don't know how bad those doors are. And you look at the courthouse doors, or the only other old door in town is pretty much the greenery where the greenery was. Everything else now is aluminum, because that was the 70s. And now people are just starting to replace that as they already replaced theirs. But the idea is they have an opportunity to actually preserve the look. That mail slot, that's an easy fix. That would have been an easy fix with a good carpenter. Even the draft with a good carpenter, that's not that hard to fix. And I think sometimes people don't want to focus on that first. Maybe I could preserve this old door instead of, let's just match everything else because it looks good. And it's going to look better. I get it. It is going to look better.
Better for them and safer.
Yep.
I wish it had looked the same.
We also need people who are qualified carpenters and people who can do the work. I mean, not you
Right,
can't just
we
say,
don't-
hey, go do this work.
Right.
We need people,
And we do.
we want to recommend
We
someone.
have very
Could do
few
that.
yeah.
And we have to
people
find
that do
those people.
preservation work anymore, so it's hard and
But they
yeah.
will do the glass repair at Spidell Construction now because they have the tools for that. Because every glass in the transom above that door is cracked. That's an easy fix.
if you've got the money,
Yeah,
it's an easy fix, but not everybody.
we don't know the
does. You can't
history behind
expect them to
all
pay
the.
ridiculous amount.
Yeah, and we
No,
don't know the
it's-
history behind everything that they try to
Yeah.
explore as options, so.
Yeah,
It's an easy fix to fix a broken window. And glaze it.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's done and, you know, I'm glad at least they're going for the safety route. I was scared when it was like, well, do we board it up? That's,
Well, that'd be terrible.
and there's a safety concerns, yeah, so.
They were.
All right, well, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. We kind of went over comments after the deal, but
Oh, well. Or you want me to, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Did you have, we?
No,
I just wanted to make sure we didn't have any.
No comment.
No comments. We're skipping over him.
no, he went through it.
This one, because that's the only comment.
Luann made a motion to adjourn. Can I have somebody second that? All right, thank you, George. All right, thanks, everyone.
Good meeting, Claudia.
Thank you again.
Thank you, yeah, thanks,
for letting me
Claudia.
know about the name. I totally forgot bringing them up.
We want to get some